I really love the fact that I was born in a Baha'i family because with the principles and teachings of the Baha'i faith, you find that it opens you up to other religions. I compared it to the moments where we used to spend and go to like the churches, and my stepbrother, who's a Muslim, I saw a modern take in the Baha'i faith at the time, and I loved it up until I started paying attention to the writings and seeing how things were being done. The way things were being done were different from the writings, and it concerned me. The Shoghi now understands that the spiritual process that we go through as human beings is something important. And however, we are also like physical beings, and from that, we start creating all this foundations and religious perceptions. The Kitabi Aqdas, yes, was very simple, very precise, but I saw chances of people understanding the Kitabi Aqdas differently, especially when it came to women's rights, when it came to homosexuality. I saw other avenues that the Baha'i faith could have taken, and that concerned me. In my personal journey, 2012, I remember, I'm 22, so I declared when I was 15. And growing up in the Baha'i faith, you are raised to think about your spiritual journey. And at this point in 2012, I wasn't okay with the process of finding out that I'm gay. And it was all an awakening from like, oh, it's because of how I was taught about being gay. It's about the religion that I grew up in. It's about other religion. It's about society. So growing up in the Baha'i faith has taught me to be open, to be welcoming, to be very patient with people and the world. I think I was 11. This was when mom was introducing like just a few writings from the faith, and I wanted to know the exact Bible in the Baha'i faith. And mom was like, yeah, the Kitabi Aqdas, that's why you're called Aqdas. But I didn't understand that. So at the time, I knew I had feelings for fellow guys, and I didn't know how to explain that to my mother or my parents in that regard. But I remember searching for being gay is okay. Now we know the word gay, but back then I was like, whatever I'm feeling, I need to find it in the Bible. And I went through the Bible, tried to go through it in the Quran. And then when it came to the Baha'i faith and I saw that equality of man and woman and all these things, I was so excited. I didn't see that, and it was disappointing. And I felt like, again, religion had not chosen me at the time. You find that the culture then was so different. We're having boys in their cultural understanding of my wife is having her period or whatever, and then they'll have a young boy there. I think he was referring to that than you being an adult or you being a person knowing your sexuality, but then being taken advantage of. So people were taking advantage of kids, and it's something he noticed as the prophet, and he was like, I need to address this. That's my understanding now of this is what Baha'u'llah was talking about, and I don't know why people took it the other way. I was mentioning a personal incident where someone wrote a letter to the NSA. It was very distressing because they were going to write another letter to Haifa. And at the time, I was like, oh my God, my life is over. Everyone's going to find out. But then I was like, why would someone threaten me with the institutions that are put in place to protect us in the first place, according to the faith? So I talked to him. I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. You're taking a personal matter into the community. I don't think it's a good idea. And around the same time, the Christian faith was becoming bold because of the Kill the Gay bill and Kill the Kuchus in Uganda was happening. And the Baha'i faith supported that. They joined hands with all other religions to condemn gay people. It was very saddening to see people from the faith in that meeting. I remember that day when when they were having a religious meeting. It was a press conference, and I saw 3 Baha'is there. And what the faith ended up doing, the NSA ended up doing was, oh, we were just there to show them that we love people regardless. But no, you showed up as religion supporting that. I believe at the time they didn't know it was going to turn out to be what it did, but they were supporting to eliminate a group of people, and that is the gay people in Uganda. I do remember this moment shaping my life. I did not like the fact that the faith that I grew up in, the faith that taught me love and inclusion, was excluding a group of people. And at the time, I had not fully been comfortable to openly say I'm gay, because it's dangerous to do that. But I was like, wow, the one community I thought I would, rely on is also not understanding who I am as a person. I moved to Rwanda because I didn't feel safe in Uganda anymore. And this was because my family was largely involved with so many things that were happening, so many plans of them riding to Haifa, and I just felt like my life was falling apart, and physically I was sick at the same time. So I decided to move to Rwanda, and I'm like, I barely remember French. I don't speak the other language. My life is going to mess, and I need to find a way out. And then people were finding out that I'm gay. Families, close friends were finding out. And people were asking questions, and I didn't know how to answer. But in Rwanda is when I found myself, and I was like, I am gay, and I'm happy about that. I'm also aware of the process of my spiritual journey. And then I started looking around on how I could live comfortably. And that was the time I decided to initiate the process to move here. I attended a few feasts, and I made sure I mentioned I was a gay Baha'i for like consecutively. Everyone I met, I was like, hi, my name is Shoghi Aqdas. I'm a gay Baha'i. And I got very different reactions, but it was the same to me. I don't know how to explain this in English. It's the same delusion. You observe the delusion that the Baha'is have lived in. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I've found myself. I still love the Baha'i writings, but I'm not this. And that was the last time I took part in any activity. I do still say prayers sometimes, and I do still listen to the chants, and I sing at home. But in terms of being active in the community, I didn't see it as an importance in the way the faith is going at the moment. I choose to identify as a spiritual person. I feel that the message that Baha'u'llah came with has been disregarded, actually. This is my personal opinion, that Baha'u'llah knew the transitions of life that were coming. He understood the process of self, and that's why people were like, yeah, the Baha'i faith. But then he also mentioned of a new prophet and all that stuff. But to me, the new prophet is the new understanding that human beings will fully be present within themselves and not say, I am this, I am a Baha'i. Be a Baha'i. Be loving, be kind, be understanding, be just. No, I am Baha'i, you know. So I hope that that message will get to people someday. I'll say for myself, as Shoghi Aqdas, I've decided to live a life where my virtues will showcase in everything that I do. And I hope that the Baha'i world will treat everyone equally. Because even though their responses, especially pertaining to gay marriage or gay people, their responses with the writings and stuff like that, it's a delusion. You have to be honest and say, we acknowledge that you are this, and we as a faith will support you because you're an existing member of the human society. And I hope that that's where they get to.
Religion's not supposed to be this, and yet this is what it's becoming. It's the more I research this, the more the more I deal with this topic, the more I see how screwed up things are. This is not spiritual to me. It's not healthy. It hurts the soul.
Yeah.
And they flip it around like we're a part of the disintegration of society. And I'm like, how dare you? How dare you do that to us? We didn't ask to be gay. This is just how we are, you know? I appreciate that you took part in this documentary.
I've learned so much today and throughout my coming to myself as a gay person. And it's wrong how the world thinks, and I hope that with changes that are happening, discussions that people are having, that it leads to another reawakening of the human, just the human society, humankind.
This is meant to happen. And whatever the outcome is, it was supposed to happen, and this needs to be discussed. And they may not change, but it's out there, and Baha'is will be discussing this. It will force them to discuss this, and it's incumbent upon the House of Justice to listen and to know that we're noble souls, and that there's spiritual karma for not accepting LGBTQ people, their families, their spouses, their children, to deny them the supposed bounty of accepting Baha'u'llah for being the latest manifestation of this age. And we're going to take back our spirituality one way or another. We're going to own it and find our own path, with the Baha'i faith or without the Baha'i faith. And ironically enough, being raised Baha'is, we can take the beautiful writings and the teachings, and we're still, in some capacity, still teaching the faith. Not in a proselytizing kind of way, but it will follow us for the rest of our lives, those teachings. So,
Yeah. In the writings, like I've always had a problem with God being referred as He, or just the limiting words that people use to define God, Baha'u'llah, the process of the divine process. And I hope that the current community of the Baha'i faith will wake up before years to come and restructure the process of teaching, because it's still the same of holding onto physical understanding and physical self, yet the divine process that is needed to be done is not paid attention to. The Ruhi process is great. You know about the story, you know where your faith comes from, you know what the faith is all about, but the importance of the divine journey, which is, I accept you, I observe you with the eyes of God, you observe me with the eyes of God. And I think that's where, the faith is not paying attention to.